I know you don't like me, but I want to know why. Hello everybody, this is AruvaChan, and today I'm going to be talking to you about somebody I used to know, and I didn't know them very well, but I did know one thing about them, is that they did not like me, and I never really found out why. So, I had just moved to the town I am in now, and I had no friends, and I basically was just trying to find my way. And when you're new to a place, you kind of look around and you say, oh, this is nice, or I'd want to talk to them, or, I'd want to do this, want to do that. Well, my town doesn't really have a lot of options because there's not a lot of people here. And I live in the mountains, so there's not a lot to do either. So I tried to talk to a whole bunch of people when I was first getting introduced in school, and I kind of found my group pretty much right away. I grouped with the weirdos, so I wasn't really, afraid of them or sad that I was grouping with them because they were really good fun, and I had really good friends, and it really worked for me at that point. Like, I had people who actually cared about me and genuinely were like, hey, you seem like a cool person, we want to be your friend. So I was cool with that. But I always secretly wanted to be friends with the drama kids. And me being the super shy and very antisocial person that I was at that point, I didn't know how to go about talking to them. So I would occasionally just look at them from afar and say wow, I wish I could be them, or I wish I could be their friend. Not really I wish I could be them, but sort of. I wanted to be good at drama, and I wanted to have fun the way they did. They had fun so openly, and when I was in middle school, I had fun that openly with my friends, and I really missed that. So I envied them in a way. When I had gone to high school, it completely shut me down as a person. I had no emotions, I had no friends, I had no motivation. I was basically a shell of a person. And if you have ever been like this, then you understand what I mean about being envious of other people having fun. Because I didn't feel like I was at this level that they were at. And I wanted to be at this level that they were at because they seemed to be having so much fun. And they were just so genuine. And later I found out it's just because they were raised in this small town where it sort of cultivated a idea of, hey, I'm safe. No matter what I do, I'm safe. Whereas what I had was I was sort of, brought up in different areas, and I had different experiences with people. Whereas here, they don't really tolerate bullying, and it's very encouraged that you just kind of be who you are, no matter who that is, and if somebody doesn't like that, then it's tough for them. It's very much a self-centered kind of mentality, but it works for the people here, so that's what they do. And I wanted that. I really did. As a super, shy, anxious kid, I wanted to be that kid who was super outgoing and could just be myself, which is what I was in elementary and middle school. And when I had gone to high school, I learned the harsh reality of, being a new face in a big town or a big city. People don't care about you. And as sad as that seems, that's what, 2 years of my life was. I just had people basically ignore me. And if you've never had that experience, it crushes you. It crushes your soul and your spirit and everything. And there's not really an explanation for that. Which is, I was used to it at that point. I'd gone 2 years in the school where nobody cared about anybody else, and they just kind of did what they did. going to this school where everybody was themselves and everybody was, cool in their own way, I felt like a fish out of water. And I wanted to be in this pond so bad. I wanted to be friends with these people. And when I went off to college, I sort of gained a little bit of that right back to be myself. But it's still, there wasn't enough. So let me get into this story. For all of you who are just saying, like, get on with it, whatever. I wanted to be friends with this one kid, and I'm going to call him Adam. I wanted to be friends with Adam so badly. I thought he was the epitome of cool. Like, he had jet black hair, and he was, really outgoing. He was, like, the drama kid. Like, you have, like, a group of drama kids. He was the drama kid. And, like, he had his group of, like, multicultured, like, band, dance team, those kind of kids. Like, he hung out in the coolest group for me, I think. Like, they probably were really nerdy, and probably most people hated them, but I wanted to be in that group. Because I had those groups before. I really wanted to be in this group because when I had grown up, my groups were big and fun and loud, and I was so used to that before that I just kind of, I didn't want to not be in the group, but at the same time, I didn't know how to approach the group. So I probably, I came off as like maybe a weird kid who sometimes stared. I don't know, that's probably what I came across as. I hope not, but, who knows? Not me. Certainly not me. I knew these kids, and, being in a small school, everybody knew them. But for me, I would have been, so blessed to be in their group that whenever, one of them talked to me, I kind of got nervous, and I feel like I said the wrong stuff. Like, I remember he was talking, Adam was talking to my best friend at the time, and I guess we'll call her A. Adam was talking to A, and he was saying something about anime, and she's not interested in anime. Like, she didn't care about anime at all. She was more of like a rough, outdoorsy kind of girl. Like, I remember she used to tell me about her paintball group, and like how she would eat mustard and dirt because they just get dirt everywhere. And he was telling her about Black Butler, and I remember I had watched Black Butler, and he said something about it, and I responded, I butted into this conversation, and I remember saying something about it, and he kind of just looked at me, and I did not know what to do at that point, so I was like, okay, turned my head away. I don't know, maybe he liked her, and he was, I don't know. I wouldn't think she was his type, but who knows? People have lots of different opinions, I guess. But that was sort of like the first kind of, hey, I don't know if I really like you. Maybe he did like me, but he was, kind of like, I don't know how to respond to this. I don't know. I didn't have very many interactions with him. I wanted to be his friend. I wanted to be his friend so much that I made friends with his friends. And, the more outgoing people, and I don't remember how I made friends. I think I just started talking to this one girl, and I can't remember her name now, but she was really cool and super outgoing, and I remember she invited me to her graduation party, and I actually left early because they started drinking, and I, called my mom, they have alcohol here, and I don't feel comfortable because they said a police officer is gonna come by. But I'm that kind of kid. I literally don't want to get in trouble ever. So, but I made friends with the friends who knew him, and just because I wanted to get a little closer. I definitely had a crush on this kid. And I was probably being, the creepy girl who has a crush on somebody. But, at the same time, wouldn't you do the same? Probably not, because you're not crazy. But, I don't know. I really liked this kid. I thought he was the coolest person. I wanted to be him, essentially. I want to be the theater kid. And I want to be, super popular with all of the other theater kids. Like, I want to be this. And I have a very big problem with living vicariously through other people. And, like, that's why I watch YouTube. But, I really did want to be this kid. Like, I wanted his life. Like, he was the epitome of cool for me. And I tried not to be creepy about it. Like, I didn't, like, follow him around in school. I just kind of, like, you know, whenever I heard him and his friends laughing, I'd look over and then I'd look away. Like, normal things. Like, you see a group of people laughing, you look at them, and then you look away. It's fine, whatever. But I joined drama because of him. And I remember I thought he was super cool. And I heard him talking about My Little Pony at one point. And if you have looked at anything on my DeviantArt, you will see that I had a huge My Little Pony phase, and it was because he talked about it. Like, I wasn't interested until I heard him saying something like, I'm a brony, or, you know, this is my pony OC. And, like, I literally was like, oh my gosh, he likes My Little Pony? Like, maybe I should look into it. Like, I know this sounds really stupid, but I really did want to connect to him on some level. And you know, whatever level it was, like My Little Pony or drama or whatever, like, I wanted to connect to him. And because I had a crush on him or whatever. So I literally, every day I would be drawing My Little Pony stuff in my notebook. And, like, I'd be sitting with the girl we were mutual friends with, and I'd be, like, talking to her and blah, blah, blah. And I was friends with his little sister, too. Like, that's the thing. I knew tons of people. Like, I wasn't even friends with her because of him. Like, I just sat with her on the bus, and, like, I was friends with her. So, I don't know. It's weird. Like, it's a very small town. Like, I'm telling you, there was maybe 200 kids in my graduating class. Maybe. I think it was more like 180, maybe. There's nobody in this town. So, you know, you're bound to be friends with somebody else. Like, I don't want to make it sound creepy, like, oh my gosh, I was friends with his sister. Like, no. There's not a lot of people in this town, and she lived close to me, so she sat with me on the bus. Like, that's how we were friends. And it got to a point where, like, I figured he wasn't interested in being my friend, so I kind of gave up. Like, I had asked his sister, like, well, what's he gonna do for college? And because he was in the same grade as me, and she was like, oh, well, he's going to this school, and he's gonna be, you know, an acting major, and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, cool. We went our separate ways after high school. Like, I hadn't seen him. I went to a community college, and because I didn't know what I was gonna do. So I went to a community college, and I, you know, sort of put it in the back of my mind, like, yeah, I can't be with this kid, so it's fine. And I did my thing. A year later, I had to pick, like, an actual school because I had taken all of the classes that I could take at this community college. And the, you know, second closest school, you know, the community college is about 45 minutes away from my house. The second closest school, which was about an hour and a half away, hour 45 minutes, was the school he went to. And I didn't really remember that until I saw him in class. And I only had one class with him. And it was, I don't even know, it was like stage dialects, which is the only reason I decided to go to the school, because I wanted to learn how to talk British. Like, I really wanted that. And that was the only reason I actually decided I wanted to go to the school, is because they had this dialect class. And I remember he was a year ahead of me in, you know, curriculum. And when I was in college, I didn't, you know, have a major, so I just kind of went with the things that I liked, which, you know, turns out actually kind of helped me here, because I do this kind of stuff for a living now. I do entertainment and art for a living, so I took all entertaining and art classes, and I would have fun, essentially, in college. And I did have fun. And I remember I was very new to this whatever class it was, and I went and sat, like, I went to go sit next to him because he was the only person I knew in this class. So I was like, hey, and he was like, hey, and he got up from his seat, climbed over, like, the back of the chair, because we were in an auditorium, climbed over the back of the chair 2 rows to go sit with somebody else. Like, wow. Like, I don't know if, like, I made you super uncomfortable or, like, what? Or you just wanted to go sit with your friend? But it makes me feel super bad about myself because it's like, do I stink? Like, does he know that I like him? Like, was I creepy in high school? Like, I don't think I was any of these things. But, maybe I was. I don't know. I can't see fault in myself because everything seemed normal to me. But at the same time, it could have been creepy to him. Like, his sister could have been telling him, oh, she asked you where you're going for school, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. All things could be creepy if somebody looked at them the wrong way. Honestly, it was more like it was sort of like I was asking where he's going, because, like, maybe I'll go there. Maybe we'll meet. But, like, at the same time, I didn't go to the school at first. And the only reason I did choose it was because it's, closer than, some of the other schools that are around here. And I live in a very secluded area, so there's not a lot of options. The closest city to me is about 3.5 hours, maybe 3 hours. 3 hours away from me. And you have to drive through the mountains. So you can't go there in the winter because it's icy as hell. Like, all of the snow is still on the ground, and it is March something. And I'm probably gonna say until April, we're gonna keep having snow because there's literally terrible weather all year round. So when I went to college, I kind of commuted. Like, I would go to college during the week. I'd come home for the weekend, wash my clothes, because I don't know why, you could never get your clothes clean enough at school. So I would commute home, wash my clothes, stay for the weekend, go back. Like, even sometimes when it was really bad, I would come home for the night, and I would go back the next day, because it was only an 1.5-hour drive. Like, it wasn't so bad for me that I was like, hey, I can't ever come home. Like, eventually it went to a point where I just didn't come home because I had a job. But it was, it was still easily accessible to home. So I don't want it to sound like I went to school just so I could see this boy. Like, I loved him so much. Because I wasn't that kind of person. Like, I was super shy, so I didn't talk a lot. When I did talk, I tried to, make people like me, whether it worked or not. And I actually, I made a lot of good friends in college, despite, him not wanting to be my friend. Like, I really did want to be his friend, and I never did actually get to be his friend in the end. But I did make friends with some of the people who knew him, and I would occasionally ask about him, because I still did like him. I'd be like, oh, well, how's, what is it? I think I called him Adam. How's Adam been recently? I haven't heard from him. And, one of the girls I knew who was on the drama, team, because it's a very small school still, she was, one of the 10 kids who was, in charge of the theater department. I occasionally asked her, hey, how's Adam doing? And she'd be like, oh, he's good, because she knew I went to the same school as him, and I was, from the same town. So, I didn't let her know that I didn't think he liked me. But I did tell somebody else that I didn't think he liked me. I actually told one of the first guy friends I ever had. And I was, messaging him one night when I was at home and not in my dorm. I was actually at home because I think it was, Christmas. It was around Christmas time. And I messaged him and I said, what do you think of Adam? And he's like, I think he's a pretty good actor. And maybe trying to scope hey, do you like Adam? No. I'm pretty sure he liked me. I'm very sure he liked me for a long time. But I asked him, I said, what do you think about Adam? And he's like, I don't know, he seems like a cool dude. He had been in the program a lot longer than I had, because he was also a liberal arts kind of, he was in writing and theater, or he had a theater, whatever. I asked him, I said, do you think he doesn't like people? And his response was, I don't think so. And I took a risk because I genuinely felt like I could trust this guy. I did. I genuinely felt like I could trust him, and I still do trust him. I'll occasionally message him out of the blue, hey, how's it going? I miss you. And I asked him, do you think he hates people? And he says, no, I don't think so. And I told him, I said, I'm pretty sure he doesn't like me. And he told me, that can't be right. Like, he likes everyone, I'm pretty sure. And, you know, from what I've gathered in my short time of interacting with him, he does not like me. And it's not just like a me being like, oh my god, guys, he doesn't like me back. Like, no, I don't care about somebody not liking me back. I've gone through that plenty of times in my life. No, I mean, I genuinely didn't think he liked me at all as a person. Like, he probably found me either creepy or annoying, one of the two. And this is all speculation, by the way. I actually, when I auditioned for roles back in, I'm kind of like jumping all over the place, I'm sorry. When I auditioned for some roles, I was told that I did the best out of everybody. And it was like, I had a super easy script, and I had it in my hand, so I didn't even have to memorize it. And it was like, you have to sing the ABCs and do like a thing at the end. So I sang it like a little, you know, elementary school kid. And like, it was super easy for me because like, that's basically how I act anyway. Like, I act like a kid anyway. But I was told I was the best, and I had a couple people say, if I did cast you, like, would you be able to do this, or would you be able to do that? And I always would say yes, like, if I have a little difficulty, I'd expect you to, like, help me along. But I had a person who, I know he was his friend. He asked me, like, hey, if you'd be interested, like, that'd be cool. And I said, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Like, you'd have to teach me how to do some things, but I'd be totally up for it. And he, like, seemed super, like, into me being an actor, but he never cast me. And I remember looking at the casting sheet, and I had gotten 2 different plays, so I wasn't sad about it at all. Like, I had been cast for 2 other people's plays, and I needed, you know, I had a very good schedule at that point. Like, I was in college, I was doing yoga, I was doing, like, 2 different plays, and I was doing my drama classes and my art classes. Like, I had a pretty good thing going for me, so I wasn't sad about it. And I was kind of relieved because he was like, well, there's gonna be, like, a sex scene in this, so, and I was like, oh, okay, whew. Like, ooh, that would be super awkward. Turns out, he cast Adam as the guy lead, and now I don't know if this is true, but this is sort of a hunch. I'm thinking he told Adam that he was thinking about casting me. And if Adam didn't like me, I guarantee he would say no. Like, don't cast her. And I know I've said this before, but I'm a people pleaser, and I try to make everybody feel as good as they possibly can because I don't feel great about myself most of the time. Like, I'm doing a little heart kind of motion with my hands. I don't always feel the best about myself, so I try to make others feel better about themselves. And I never, ever, ever want to make anybody uncomfortable. I want to please everybody. I know I said this a lot in my other video. I'm a people pleaser. Like, yeah, we get it. But I'm serious. I literally do. Like, I have to stop myself from reading some comments because they're so mean, and I'm just like, why are you so mean to me? Like, I just want to make you happy. But it makes me so sad when I hear that. Like, he just doesn't like you. Like, maybe he's just not, you know, into you. Like, it would be different if if I had advanced and said, hey, I like you, and he had said, I don't like you. It would be different then, because I'd be like, okay, cool, like, I respect that, you're not into me, whatever, that's fine. Like, I don't ever have to talk to you again. But there was no middle of this. It was just, I don't like you. And he never said it either. Like, but everything he did sort of conveyed the, I don't like you. Like, don't sit by me, don't talk to me, don't do anything in my general direction because I don't like you. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. Please don't. Ever. which is hard for me because I've literally battled with myself for that, like, in my entire life. Like, I keep telling myself that I don't like me. I don't like me. Why is that? Who knows? But, like, I don't know. If you battle with yourself like this too, leave a comment, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who doesn't like themselves a lot of the time. Like, I love myself most of the time. Like, I once I dyed my hair, I got a whole bunch of confidence, and I was, you know, super happy with how I looked, and I wasn't so mean to myself anymore. But at the same time, like, some days I have, like, really bad days where I remember, like, yeah, that kid, he didn't like me, but, like, why? And I, like, stir over it. I stir and I stir and I stir, and then bad thoughts come into my head, like, well, maybe I don't know, maybe I stared at him for a really long time. Like, I do that sometimes. I just stare off into space, and I can, like, lock my eyes onto something, and sometimes I stare at people, and I've done that before, and people have thought I've had crushes on them because of that. Like, no, I'm sorry, I don't have a crush on you, I'm sorry, I'm just daydreaming. Like, that could have happened, but I don't know. I really don't know. I'm hoping not, because I don't want to seem like a creepy person. But you can't control the way other people see you. And you kind of just have to let it go. You have to take the good with the bad. And there are always going to be people who don't like you. Always. I've known that for such a long time, but YouTube has definitely reaffirmed this for me. Like, there are people out there who just hate to hate. And it's not your fault, because you're just being the genuine you. So that's about it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching me. And here's a little bit of fan art for you. Thank you so much. Bye.